What if you never achieved your goals? If you put in the work and continue to improve each day, it's unlikely that that will be the case, but I think it's at least worth thinking about. If you didn't achieve something you were relentlessly pursuing, would you still think that time was well spent? Is there really a point to pursuing something if you hate every moment you spent getting there? I don't think so, but this is something I notice all the time as I observe the people around me. The quote-unquote standard path, at least if you live in America, reflects this as well. Many people, whether they go to college or not, get a job they hate just to get by and hopefully save up money for the next 40 to 50 years just to retire and sit around and do nothing for the rest of their lives. Wouldn't it be better to find something you enjoy doing so much that you would dread the day that you have to stop working? Wouldn't it be better to find the thing you can't stop thinking about no matter how hard you try? Maybe it would even make you focus more on your health so you could continue working on it for as long as possible. I think most people, even those on the standard path, would say yes, but some questions arise. Is there something I would enjoy that much for that long? How do I find that thing? What if I can't do it? There are answers to those questions and any others you might have, but it will likely take some time before you find those answers. If you have questions like those, it will likely be difficult for you to come up with a goal, and thus I don't think that's the best place to start. I think the best place to start is actually with what you don't want. From your previous experiences and observing negative experiences of those you know, you probably have a fairly good idea of the things you don't want in life. Make a note of these somewhere and also write down the actions you think you should and shouldn't be taking to avoid those things. You might not have a goal yet, but this will give you a good direction to start going in. You'll likely have to pivot a little bit later on, but you will begin to improve, which is much better than staying the same or getting worse. Through this process of avoiding the things you don't want and observing those around you and those you look up to, you'll likely eventually notice some things you do want as well. Just like the things you don't want, you should make a note of these and write down the actions you think you'll need to take each day to have those things in your life. It may be more obvious how to avoid the things you don't want, but you might find some things that you do want are more difficult to achieve, and you may not see how to achieve those things on your own. I think the best way to start researching something like this is to reverse engineer. Look at someone who already has what you want, or at least something very similar, and try to see what they did to get there and any advice they would give to someone else who's trying to do the same. And it's going to take a lot of trial and error too. What worked for almost everyone else might not work for you. Just keep trying until something clicks. And do your best to keep an open mind as well. You might learn something that causes you to have a huge breakthrough from someone you don't like. Or you might learn something that applies perfectly for you from someone doing something completely different. As an example, within the past couple weeks, I've seen 2 posts about age. One saying that we should be taking less risks because aging could be completely solved in our lifetime, and they even talked down to people who didn't want to live forever. The other post said that only 3 out of every 10,000 people live to 100 and that we don't have nearly as much time as we think. And from what I can remember, I've seen decent health and business advice from both of these people before. They've come to wildly different conclusions about something, but both offer advice about it that could be valuable. But as you're writing down these things that you do and don't want, and coming up with goals to achieve them, don't forget to take a step back every once in a while and appreciate how far you've already come, and be grateful for the things you already have. Don't get so tunnel visioned you never appreciate the present moment or reflect on the past. The journey is just as, if not more important than the destination. And like we talked about at the beginning, this is something you should enjoy doing regardless of whether or not you ever achieve the goal. The end goal should be that you're moving away from the bad, headed towards the good, and that you're focused on the now. And it's completely okay to pivot. It's okay to spend months or even years working on something and eventually decide that it's actually not what you want to do. It might feel like completely starting over, but it's not. You've learned tons of skills while working on that thing, and at least some of them are likely going to apply to the next thing you do, regardless of how different those two things are. The important thing is that you are learning and you are improving. Those things can't be taken away from you. Anyway, that's all I have for this one. I hope this video helps some of you start on the path toward your life's work, or just gives you some perspective if you're already on that path. And I hope you guys have an awesome and productive rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.